Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling well this morning, getting up, getting after it, and having a great start to your day and a great weekend so far. I got you an update weather-wise on what is likely going to unfold. You know, a little bit different than the last several days as this frontal boundary has continued to sag south. So maybe a lot less people will see active weather today, but the people who do see active weather could see flooding, some strong to severe storms. But as far as the south, you guys won't see as more widespread strong to severe storms today. But there's a tornado threat for areas of Minnesota today. We'll talk about that in this video. And stay tuned to the tail end or skip ahead, whatever you want to do. We'll briefly touch on the tropics. That'll be the topic in this evening's video, which might be a little bit later this evening. I know I've said the last 2 evenings I'll drop an evening video and really haven't. It's been a pretty busy weekend and will be a pretty busy July for me and my family. But I will start dropping some evening videos over the next several days because I do think we have a scenario where we could get some tropical activity in the Gulf of Mexico. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I appreciate all of you guys. I really do. I set up that P.O. box. If you're wondering what the address is, it's in the community tab. I'm going to work on putting it in the description under the videos probably sometime today. But definitely hit the community tab if you're interested in sending me anything, letters, whatever it may be. I'm open for it, and I appreciate it. You guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over? Please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop. You can actually see a little bit where this front has sagged south. If you look right here, there's a little bit of a boundary between more white colors and more darker colors. That is a little bit of dry air aloft and a little bit mixing to the surface. So in general, you're going to have less activity in this darker region and more activity in the more lighter or whiter region where there's still more of a tropical air mass in place. So therefore, areas of the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, as always, areas of Alabama will still see rain today. Louisiana also, areas of southern Mississippi. So we'll see how that unfolds today. There will still be some hot weather. The ridge is getting pushed back south, and the influence of it isn't as there today as maybe the last several days, but it'll still be very warm in this part of the country, unfortunately, again, but just not quite as widespread. Severe chances today, and the general risk is the light green, so you will still have showers and storms in the Carolinas today. What's wild is really over the last 2 days in my specific location in central South Carolina, we've had our highest chances of storms throughout the whole entire week, but we haven't gotten any rain. So it just goes to show you that you can look at that percentage on your weather apps all day, but a lot of times it doesn't mean a whole lot. And I know you're thinking, well, how am I supposed to know if it's going to rain or not? Well, sometimes you just got to look at the radar, guys, in the summertime. You really do. And I know that, people want to go off the hourly forecast, and I don't blame you, but I'm telling you, it's a 50-50 shot with the hourly forecast, guys. But there's a marginal risk for some severe storms. So down here in areas of far southeast Texas, the southern half of Louisiana, maybe a smidgen area of Mississippi, could have more of a higher chance to see some stronger to severe storms today as this sits right just south of this frontal boundary. But a little bit later today, there is definitely going to be a more of a severe weather threat with a 5% chance of a tornado at 25 miles in any given location. This brown area, Duluth, this includes you, and Minneapolis includes you also. You're right at the border of the 2% and 5%. But don't pay too much attention to that. Just know there's going to be some active weather today. And then points north all the way up to the Canadian-U.S. border. Active weather expected today. Some individual storms can get going, and there's enough atmospheric players at bay aloft to promote a tornado threat, so be careful. Wind threat, there'll be a little bit of that here today, but you can get damaging winds in any of these storms, even where you don't even see a percentage, but the chances are very low, but a little bit higher right down here. And then you got the damaging wind threat up here in the north central U.S., especially the northern sections up here, Grand Forks, Fargo, Bismarck, Duluth. Watch out today. Hail threat, kind of the same area right here. Not much of a hail threat with this tropical air mass. Normally with a real tropical deep air mass aloft, and not much cooling aloft at what we call them steep lapse rates. A lot of times you do not have much of a hail threat with these, but you could still see some isolated hail. But let's keep it rolling here. The rain, the flooding issue today, not as big of an issue as the last 2 days, but where the stalled frontal boundary is, I'm expecting some pretty heavy rain in southern sections and eastern sections of Georgia and the southern half of South Carolina, a slight risk. That's at least a 15% risk of seeing flash flood guidance being met in this region. And, you're just going to have areas of storms that continue to go over each other. And even, these storms are dropping so much rain that just whoever gets hit by a storm is almost guaranteed to at least get half an inch of rain in probably 10-15 minutes. It's just these storms are just unloading. It's just that time of the year, and with a stalled frontal boundary, there's ample amount of moisture in all levels of the atmosphere. Watches and warnings, and we're really looking at this because of the heat advisories and the excessive heat warnings. Everybody in the orange, very hot today again in Texas, and pretty much 50% of Louisiana, the western area, half of Louisiana. Excessive heat warnings in south central Texas. Another hot day. I'm sorry. On behalf of Mother Nature, I hope you guys can catch a break soon. But it's just been a relentless summer. I can complain here in South Carolina too, because it's been our hottest summer, I would say, since at least it feels like it has been. I'll have to go back and look at the records, but it feels like it's been our hottest summer here in South Carolina since, I would say, 2016. That was a very hot summer. We had 100-degree readings for about 15 days in a row here in Columbia, South Carolina. But as far as humidity, one of the most humid summers that I remember here in South Carolina. But very hot weather right in the heart of the country also. Here in Kansas, Nebraska, areas of South Dakota, where heat index could reach well over 105, 110 degrees. So please be careful. And I want to show you this. I don't show this often, if I have even at all. But this is the surface map as of right now. And why I'm showing you this is because this has a player on what we're going to talk about here in the evening videos coming up in the next several days. You see this front? This is a front right here, and it's almost stationary, or its movement south is so slow you can call it stationary, or just pretty much stalled out. This will continue to sag south, and with it you're going to have plenty of rain, moisture into the southeast, lots of showers and storms refiring over the same areas, whether it be overnight, in the morning, in the afternoon, evening hours. And what this is going to do is eventually get into the Gulf, and little pieces of energy ride this boundary. And once these pieces of energy ride the boundary that has sagged to the Gulf of Mexico, it gets over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, which, by the way, is starting to approach the upper 80s to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So then you have a chance of what we call homegrown activity, and this can fire up a low pressure in the northern Gulf of Mexico, and sometimes you'll get just a really quick tropical storm, kind of like what you got off the coast of the southeast 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, where you had the tropical storm Colin that formed. So this can happen, and model guidance is really showing this. But we'll talk about that here in a second. Let's break down who could see what. I want to mention the short-range models did not do that great yesterday. The NAM didn't do that great. I would say the HRRR model beat out the NAM yesterday. I always like to see and compare and contrast who does what, and who normally wins. But I'm going to go with the HRRR model today. So here we go. All the way, by the time we get into about late morning, already some tropical downpours forming in the southern Appalachian Mountains, of North Carolina, Tennessee. You got some downpours in upstate South Carolina, the Piedmont, North Carolina. Rain, a little complex of showers and storms might enter the Big Bend area of Florida. So, northern Florida, some tropical downpours certainly possible. A lot of rain has already fell in the bayou of Louisiana. You will continue to experience this early this afternoon. And then we get into maybe later this afternoon, this evening, I'm talking about 5-6 p.m. It is still raining very heavily down here in southeast Louisiana. You guys might have another flooding risk, as just this frontal boundary is down here, not just a flooding risk, but a severe weather risk down here in southern sections of Louisiana. Please be careful. Flooding, severe storms are certainly possible, and just outflow boundary driven storms. It could be more active in the Midlands of South Carolina today. Could get some storms in and around Atlanta, Jacksonville, Florida, down here near Savannah, and then it could get quite active this evening down the coastal regions of maybe Georgia, especially South Carolina. We'll have to see how this unfolds, if it actually does. But if it does, this will be a pretty significant, I wouldn't say significant, but a pretty beefy line of storms that might move towards the coastline. Watch out, Savannah, Edisto, Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, everybody could certainly see a lot of rain. And, you look at I'll show you something here in a second that might verify that the National Weather Service is thinking that this is certainly a possibility of it happening. The Northeast, you guys just remain scot-free. Just a beautiful summer continues. and no real action ahead. But you guys have a threat of severe weather coming up early this week. We'll talk a little bit about that also coming up this evening and over the next couple days. But the south central U.S., like I said, all that rain's possible in southeast Louisiana with a severe weather threat. So, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, everybody in between down there, expect some heavy rain and just ongoing storms today. If you got any outdoor activities down there, I would certainly just keep your eye on the sky. Maybe some storms might be possible, even over here in Texas, but no widespread showers or storms in areas of the drought-stricken areas of Texas. I just don't see it happening. And then maybe a little complex of storms entering areas of western Nebraska a little bit later this evening. That could have a severe weather potential to it, but otherwise not a whole lot. So we're watching up here in the north central U.S. today. You're already going to have a wave of some storms that move through probably mid to late morning through Louisiana. This will move through. The atmosphere will likely destabilize behind it. And then there'll be enough environmental factors aloft to promote a little spin to the atmosphere. So these little storms that you're seeing right here in the northern half of Minnesota, these will have a spin to it. And they all look discreet. Which means they're going to take full advantage of the atmosphere players at bay here. So, you got little individual discrete, potentially supercells, which are rotating thunderstorms. These could produce a quick tornado or two. So that's why you get that 5% chance of a tornado 25 miles in any given location right here for the northern half of Minnesota. So watch out. Not everybody will even see rain from these. But whoever gets hit by these, quick tornado threat, and this might enter as you get into the evening hours in northern Wisconsin, maybe even northern sections of Michigan, probably as you're getting into about, late evening, midnight, just after midnight, some showers and storms. These could still be severe entering northern Michigan, but other than that, not too bad out here. Maybe an area, showers and storms from the just leftover disturbance will move into the northern plains and north central U.S. For your morning hours of Monday. But rain down here in the southeast where there is that slight risk for flash flooding, it's pointing out what I just showed you from the southeast with the potential for a big beefy line of storms to work its way through the southern sections of South Carolina where you have that slight risk. And that is saying that, hey, maybe 2 to 3 inches of rain can fall in the next 24 hours down here. So it's trying to predict a big area of of showers and storms in between Orangeburg, Charleston, things like that. So we just got to pay attention. Will this form? Will it form in a different location? Maybe more in Georgia or North Carolina? We're not sure, but it's trying to signal some big-time rain. Big-time rain here in northern Florida also. The panhandle of Florida could see a lot of tropical moisture today. Temperatures, rain-cooled air in the Carolinas, Virginia will keep the temperatures kind of tempered today. But big heat in areas of Texas, Louisiana. It's just the same story out here. You guys are just, it just seems like you guys got lingering impacts. Once you get this ridge pattern in place, it is really hard to beat it down. It really is, and you can beat it down for about a week and then it'll flare back up and you get a big tall ridge again that starts baking the country. But very high temperatures, way out here, 90s Oklahoma, 90s, even hundreds in areas of Kansas, a little area of just pocket of very hot weather in Nebraska and Kansas, even, Colorado. I think Denver and Boulder hit 198 degrees, not 198 degrees, but I think Denver hit 100 degrees and Boulder, Colorado hit 98. So I think that was a record high for both locations. But nice day in the Northeast, Ohio Valley, not too bad. A little bit of pockets of dry air will move through this afternoon, in the evening. You guys just nice weather in the Northeast. Man, it's just my fantasy area to live up here. Just beautiful weather, very dry weather, very nice summer weather. But pocket of moist air up here will set the stage for severe weather in the north central U.S. with this shortwave trough wrapping through here in Canada. This will spark those severe weather with enough low-level moisture to deal with for some severe weather. And then you just got the tropical air mass that continues in the southeast with just a brutally humid summer so far in the southeast and really the entire south. I want to mention this really quick, and we'll talk about this tonight. We're getting into Sunday, we're getting into Monday, and then this front, you see all this moisture down here in the Gulf of Mexico, this will eventually get a little spin to it, potentially. And then, here it goes. Watch, keep your eye right here. this will actually pop a low pressure, and then it wants to turn into an all-out, almost a tropical storm by around this time next week, make landfall in areas around Houston, and then head deeper into Houston and bring some rains. But I will mention, that is the Euro, right? This is the GFS. GFS is much different. It unfolds this much quicker. By the way, that is not the same system, I don't believe. That's another thing we need to figure out. This is actually the system right here for the GFS. It's about midweek. We're around Tuesday night into Wednesday. And this is actually that system that the Euro is showing over here later this weekend. So if you turn on the 850 vorts here, it tells you kind of where we have our rotation or circulation here. And here it goes. You know, there's that little signal right here. See that highlighted spot where the wind barbs are circling around like this? That tells you that we have some circulation right here, rotation that has some tropical characteristics to it. But the Euro looks much more aggressive, but it's way over here, and it's a lot later. But we'll talk about all this tonight. There's no point in getting deep into this. So stay tuned, especially if you're in the Gulf States, Texas. Who knows? This could bring beneficial rain. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a great Sunday, and I'll be with you guys sometime this evening. God bless.